lay it alongside that wire, and then solder this down. Pushing him with your fingernail. Oh, lovely. There, you can see there. Then you take this other little cap and then you fit this over the top with the feet facing downwards. You might find that you've not cleared it entirely with the leads. It's easily just fiddled out the way there. Goes in. Keep them apart so they're not touching. I've only had one problem with these chips, and that's when I've soldered and bent the leads at the same time, and it went a bit open circuit. Well, it went very open circuit. So there we are, and then another M4 solder tag. Can't go wrong with a solder tag. Good old-fashioned technology. Stick that over the top, and then treat yourself to another nut. You will tighten this down with something appropriate. I tend to use inappropriate things. The end of a pair of pliers or whatever's at hand at the time. Just bend these around. That's short. Sorry, cut that off. Another blob of solder. And there we are. So that is the completed battery assembly. The other little bit I'll show you, hopefully I've got one I prepared earlier. I've got, I'll move this back down again. I've got here a little socket with some wire attached, a bit of heat shrink to make it neat. The black wire connects to the negative here, which is coming up from the battery. Hope you can get that. And then the positive goes to the end of the inductor there. Can you see that? It's not the neatest way of doing it, but hey, this means there's no little PCBs. It just assembles so easy. And there we are. What I could do is I could take a battery. So happens I have one here, and plonk that in now. For some reason it's a little tight. Ah, I can see why it's a little tight. Screws sticking up. That all needs doing up tighter. 1 second. Okay, take the battery, place it in here. Job's a good one. There we are, battery in the holder, and there's no solar panel connected at the moment, so if I take, well, I've got a black one, one of my ends, the LED, I've soldered some wire to it, and when I pushed it into the housing, I've just added some epoxy resin around there, just some epoxy glue like Araldite, which we all know and love. The easiest thing you can do now, if you want to test it, is just connect this up. Oh, right, you can see that's on. That's good and bright, yes. When the solar panel is connected, it will of course turn that light off. But in fact, I could prove the point. Take one solar panel. Sorry about this. Take one solar panel. These are the solar cells. I've got lots of these. They are very easy to work with. They are very tough. I'm quite happy to do things like that to them. I could drop them. They are very thick. So they've been tabbed. Unusually, you tab the cells on the bottom first, and then you put the cell into the holder. So if you're using the square ones, it's exactly the same, and then you solder on the top. If you're using modern cells, do not try and tin them on the bottom. That'll just rip the plating straight off, and I think you're just basically left with aluminium, and it's a real difficult, or sorry, aluminum. It's very difficult for you to solder to that. However, I did find with the modern cells you can solder to the top, tin the top beforehand, and it makes life easier. So you pre-tin the tab, and then solder onto the bottom. Put a little bit of flux pen on first to make life easier. Tabs come through here. I've soldered some good red and black wire there, 2-pin header, and also I've added, I like doing this, a bit of Araldite on the tabs there, stop the thing moving around and coming adrift. I've marked the polarity of everything, so the polarity of the polarity on the LED is marked at the bottom, and on the, as we've seen on the case of the in the case of the battery holder, the D-cell holder, it's marked. So if I now plug in the LED, and I'll go back down again, hopefully. Can we see LED? Yes. And if I lift the solar panel, the LED goes out and back on again. That's all you need out of life. It's as simple as that. Okay, so hopefully I've done all this in front of you. It's a bit haphazard, but hopefully it demonstrates to you just how easy it is with this lovely little chip. I know it's Chinese, but it's a wonderful thing. I'm sorry. It does the job, and I hope you can see how easy this is to assemble. Thank you.